so each tree that you plant, you have actually sort of monitoring
A
system
monitoring
or
tool, exactly.
each tree?
Yeah.
Every single tree?
Every single tree, exactly.
Wow.
And we also, and that's very important, is we get the geolocation of every single tree.
Right.
So basically, we can prove the existence of every single tree, which then boosts confidence for investors to invest in the markets.
Definitely. Yeah. You see, we've been actually supplying like good air to the world, but we are not actually accepting any, we are not getting any funds whatsoever to actually keep it that way. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Yes, oh yes! Decarbonizers, carbon friends, carbon activists. Welcome back to another episode of Carbon Forum. And today is going to be very interesting because we will be talking about how we can actually boost the investor confidence. Basically, the role of MRV in Indonesia for the voluntary market. Carbon market needs to be sort of looked at. And with us, we already have somebody that is a carbon developer, and his name is Herr, not her name, but Herr Christopher Hentsch, because he's German, and he's doing a lot of replantations program, right, in Indonesia, right? And his business is, it's called Treeo. So it's basically planting trees and he's making money out of it. Hello, Christopher, how are you?
Ya, terima kasih banyak Pak Poempida ya.
Wie geht es Ihnen?
Geht's gut, wie geht's Ihnen?
Yeah, good, danke. Yes, my German is not really that well. So we will speak in English instead, right?
That's all right.
And what do you do? I mean, you're planting tree and...
Exactly. So we're planting trees here in Indonesia.
Yep.
So we're a startup from Germany, from Stuttgart.
Yep.
And we have developed a single tree monitoring technology.
Oh, I see.
Basically, we are on a mission to restore integrity and transparency in the voluntary carbon markets,
right,
while actually fighting climate change.
Sounds very interesting and sounds very noble. But so each tree that you plant, you have actually sort of monitoring system
monitoring
or
tool, exactly.
Each tree?
Yeah.
Every single tree?
Every single tree, exactly.
Wow.
So
that must be a sort of horrendous sort of, activities. Yeah. I mean,
definitely, but it actually works.
Right.
So basically, because we developed a technology that's very simple to use.
Yeah. So it's a digital technology.
It's a digital technology, exactly. Yeah. So the technology functions as an app, an application on the phone that can be used by farmers or farmer groups, for example, that are conducting reforestation projects in Indonesia.
Right.
So we have the application and we have the Treeo card.
Oh.
So the Treeo card basically functions as a reference point. We can hold the card against the tree and take a picture of this tree.
Right.
So now based on the diameter of the tree trunk and based on allometric formula of every tree species, but also considering factors like the climate conditions they're growing in, or the soil conditions, for example, we can now calculate a very accurate amount of carbon that's actually sequestrated within the biomass of the tree. Right. And we're conducting this monitoring once a year. So we get a lot of very valuable data about the development of the projects, for example, where we have to adjust if the tree health is not so well, if the mortality rate is too big, for example.
Yeah.
And we also, and that's very important, is we get the geolocation of every single tree. Right. So basically, we can prove the existence of every single tree, which then boosts confidence for investors to invest in the markets.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And what sort of data you actually sort of monitor for the trees? I mean, not only the diameter, right, but also some other thing also?
Exactly. So to calculate the amount of carbon sequestrated within the tree, we use the allometric formula for every tree we have. Then we get the photometric data and the geolocation. So this is the main data we have basically to now build a carbon project that's very accurate.
So basically, any kind of sort of certification process must be straightforward with your sort of methodology. I mean, just look at it and then get the data from it, and then it will be certified straight away.
Yeah, it's all about improving digital monitoring, reporting, and validation processes.
Have you done any sort of certification yet with any international sort of standards?
Yeah, we do, but unfortunately not in Indonesia yet. So we have projects in Uganda and Africa.
I see.
And there we work with Carbon Standards International. It's a standard from Switzerland.
Yeah.
It's called the tree ceasing standard, so the carbon sink standard. And there we see this is very well aligned with our technology.
Right.
And we can provide like a carbon credit that's very, very accurate, basically.
Yeah. Would it be possible to actually use these for an existing trees is already there?
No, since we support the initial implementation of reforestation projects. So this is very important. Talking also about additionality, for example.
So it's just for replantations only, right?
Exactly, yeah. Reforestation.
Right.
But then talking here about Indonesia and Indonesia's regulations, of course, this is like a very complicated landscape right now, let's say, I guess.
You say that, not me. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, no, but we definitely understand the overall objective of Indonesia's government, which is basically NDCs first. And we totally agree that Indonesia's carbon dioxide removal potential must not be exploited by international markets. But we also see that definitely channeling funding from the international markets to reforestation efforts in Indonesia can also boost targets, NDC targets here within Indonesia.
I think it's a pity because NDC it should be referred to something that we can actually achieve, not something that is actually too far away that we cannot achieve.
Totally agree.
So I think the government needs to renegotiate the condition, first of all. And second of all, you see, we've been actually supplying like good air to the world, but we are not actually accepting any, I mean, we're not getting any funds whatsoever to actually keep it that way. So yeah, I think there are a lot of things to do. But back to your activity, you're planting trees. What kind of trees?
So we're supporting tree planting organizations on ground. So collaborating with NGOs, for example, smallholder groups, social forestry groups, for example. And we're planting trees that belong there, that have like additional benefits for the communities, for the smallholder communities, like timber, for example, like fruits, seeds, nuts, and whatsoever. So we support any kind of tree growth.
All right. Any kind of trees?
Yes.
But definitely not grass.
As long as they belong there. That's very
not
important.
Not bushes or grasses, right?
Yeah,
but something with sort of woods in it, right?
Okay. We're talking about trees, but also we're starting to look more into biodiversity, for example.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Because in the end...
What kind of biodiversity like?
To see that we can improve biodiversity, like to prove that biodiversity improves basically through reforestation efforts.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're aiming like for preserving orangutan or?
Well, it's, let's say, a additional benefit of the project.
Right.
Yeah.
I'd be happy to see white tigers or something like that to coexist in your forest.
Yeah, that would be great to see. Yeah.
So, okay, how do you actually develop this now? I mean, how are you actually getting support in terms of fund or can you actually sell anything after you actually manage to sort of do the replantation?
Yeah. I mean, currently we can't. So every project here in Indonesia is just a pilot project.
Right.
Because we are not able to use the methodologies we would like to use. So it's more about trying to find a way to align our technology with current methodologies.
Okay.
To then also create SPE, GRK di SRN and the SRN, for example. So far, we cannot sell any product. So it's all based on trust of our investors as well, that we will be able in the future to do so.
You joined ACEXI, right?
We did.
Recently.
Recently, yeah.
My recommendation. You know, ACEXI was asked by the Ministry of Forestry and also Environment that should we actually need to recommend any methodology for this kind of activity, we can actually do it. So might as well, I would suggest that we can actually sit down together with them.
That would be very interesting.
We can set up a sort of formal meeting with them and then, do something about it.
We would love to attend it because we believe.
No. I mean, what I'm saying is because I'm not quite, the ACEXI probably is not actually familiar with the methodology. Mm-hmm. Why don't you actually sort of propose yours and then we will study it together and then we propose to them.
Yeah.
That's the role of the association. That's why I encourage you to join, So
we're definitely down for that. Yes.
Well, Chris, it's been very interesting talk, and I think it's a very noble sort of thing that you're doing. And would you like to address a few things to the audience, please?
Well, there's one interesting topic, right? Talking about carbon dioxide removals. So recent studies have shown that if we want to get somewhere close to our net zero targets, we cannot only talk about avoidance projects, but actually we have to talk about removal projects. And here we have like a huge range of possibilities, talking about technical solutions, for example, which are great, like direct air carbon capture sequestration. The problem here is that those technologies are still very pricey and they still need some development. And we shouldn't forget what we're talking about, right? We're talking about one of the greatest threats of our modern civilization, right? Talking about the collapse of our ecosystems, talking about the loss of biodiversity, climate change caused by greenhouse gas emissions. So the thing is, what my appell is we have to act fast and we have to act now. And this is where nature-based solutions come in, because the potential is there, especially in countries like Indonesia. We can plant hundreds of thousands of trees that have especially also co-benefits for the smallholder farmers, for example, for the biodiversity. So we should start now. Like this is my appeal. Like we have to start now because it's actually very urgent, right? Yeah. So we shouldn't forget what this is all about. Also the whole carbon markets, the carbon economy, seeing it as a financial tool to combat this threat of climate change. So this is my appeal. We have to act now and we have to act fast.
Wow, I totally agree with you. And even the avoidance, if this sort of NDC target is too high, we're not going to get any fun whatsoever from this avoidance activity. So we should focus on the removals. I agree with you. So thanks for being with us. And definitely we will be inviting you again in the near future for other discussions, obviously.
Looking forward to that.
Thank you very much.
Terima kasih.
Yeah, that was Mr. Christopher Hentsch, Herr Christopher Hentsch. And he just explained the importance on the accuracy and also transparency in terms of the MRV. MRV is actually measurement, report, and verification sort of way to enable the people to see what sort of carbon dioxide that is actually absorbed by trees accurately. So we've been discussing a lot of things related to tree plantations, but only a few people that actually do these things, and Chris is one of them. I think we should support him, and definitely we'll be looking for other activities related to replantation, because replantation is very, very important sort of activities in the carbon development sort of efforts. Yeah. So the carbonizers, carbon activists, carbon friends, that was a very interesting sort of topics that we actually discussed today. And until the next episode of Carbon Forum with me, Poempida Hidayatulloh, as the host. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.